We have been hearing rumors recently about the possible release date for the Switch 2. Will it be coming out in May or June or maybe even pushed out further? Well, we have some updated information coming to us from what I would consider a reliable source. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. First of all, this is coming to us from Insider Gaming by Tom Henderson. Now again, there's no guarantee this is all correct, so I'm just kind of relaying here what he says. But he's been pretty reliable in the past, and we'll start here with the headline. It says, exclusive, Nintendo Switch 2 will have a 3-phase launch plan for its games. Now in the article, he has several points here about plans for the first year of the Switch 2's release. First, we have a possible release month for the Switch 2. You can see from the article here it says, with Nintendo Switch 2 just 1 week from its official full reveal, this year's annual GDC was buzzing with talk about the future of the console. One such discussion was around the Nintendo Switch 2 launch date, which according to people that I spoke to at the event falls in June. So from this, it looks like June is the most likely month for when the Switch 2 will be released. We don't get an idea of when in June. It's just June, and we don't know if it's at the beginning or in the middle or toward the end. And June is kind of what I thought the release date would be. Nintendo has those Switch 2 experiences that are scheduled all around the world, and I believe the last one is scheduled to end on June 1st in Seoul. So I can't imagine the Switch 2 getting released before then, at least not a worldwide release. There's always the possibility that, say, over in Korea, it could get released later, but it still seems like they would want to hold those reveal events before it gets released anywhere. Now, the next major point he has here in the article is that it looks like the Switch 2 will have a 3-phase release. First, according to the article here, it looks like the first phase will primarily focus on first-party games. From the article here it says, but that's not all. According to various sources, the Nintendo Switch 2 will launch its games in a 3-phase strategy starting primarily first-party games on launch. Now obviously Nintendo and their studios are best positioned to have their games ready at the release of the Switch 2. I will point out here that he does say primarily first-party games. That doesn't mean that we won't see any third-party games at launch. And that brings us to our second and third stages here. So again, from the article it says, according to sources, the second stage will arrive in October to November for third-party studios, mostly of which are expecting the dev kits for the Switch 2 to be sent in June. Finally, it was said that the third phase for games will be in the holiday period. Now, I've seen reports that some third-party studios already have dev kits, so maybe these are kind of like the final dev kits. I can't imagine that no third-party studios have any dev kits. Maybe it could just be some of the smaller studios, which kind of goes back to that first point, that if it's primarily going to be first-party games, but there could be some third-party games, I would expect some studios to have dev kits already. But according to this second phase here, it does mean we should see more third-party games start to show up around October and November. And then we have the third final stage here that says more games will arrive during the holiday period, which I think would mean like late November and December. And there's no mention of this third phase being just third parties, so I would expect Nintendo to have a big first-party game or two for the holiday season, as they usually do. Now, I mentioned earlier that Nintendo is having those Switch 2 experiences all over the globe. Well, it looks like a special one is being set up just for media and creators. Again, from the article here it says, in addition to the talk of the 3-phase launch plan, Insider Gaming has also learned that select media and creators will be attending Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on next week, where they'll get hands-on with the console and some of its launch games for a few hours. So my invitation must have gone to my spam filter. I'll have to look for that later. So I imagine this event will be shortly after that April 2nd Direct. I couldn't imagine them bringing in people before this event. Although I could be wrong, they could have some people coming to this event sworn to secrecy, and then they'll drop all their articles at the same time as that Switch 2 Direct. I have seen this strategy used before, so I wouldn't rule it out. And that big Switch 2 Direct is scheduled for Wednesday of next week, so I think we'll get a lot of questions answered there, like the official release date, the price, if there will be different SKUs with, like, say, one different colored Joy-Con and maybe one that's all gray. And I would expect pre-orders to go up that day at the best. At worst, I think we'll be given a time and date when pre-orders would go up, but I think it's going to be pretty close to when this Direct happens. If the Switch 2 is being released in June, we only have basically like a 2-month lead up for pre-orders, and that seems about right. The first Switch pre-orders started just 2 months before the release of the Switch, and they went up right after the Switch presentation. Now, it has been reported that Nintendo plans to have a high quantity of Switch 2s available in the first year. I've seen it reported that 20 million units will be available in that first year. Now, I'm not sure how many of those will be available on launch day, and if they have multiple SKUs like they did with the first Switch, it could be harder to find the specific version that you're wanting. I can remember pre-ordering the first Switch in 2017, and they only had the gray Joy-Con version available when I placed my order, but that was the version I wanted anyway, so it didn't matter. So you'll want to be sure to follow someone like Wario64 over on X and turn on notifications for his account by April 2nd, so you can be alerted just as soon as those pre-orders go up. But tell me what you think about all this. Does this 3-phase plan sound correct to you? Do you think the Switch 2 will release in June? And how soon do you think pre-orders will go up after that Nintendo Direct on April 2nd? Drop your comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching and be good.